to the NFC Championship game. They won 19-12, a fun battle. We're going to be here breaking it down with the instant reaction. Stay tuned.
Let's go get him. Let's go get him today, man. Let's go. Hey, dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3, dominate.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Instant Reaction Show. I am your host, Rohan Chakravarthi, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in. The 49ers defeated the Dallas Cowboys, a fun battle, and now we have a interesting matchup, a NFC Championship with really the best other team in the NFC, the Philadelphia Eagles, and this went really as I anticipated. The 49ers, Cowboys, I thought that the 49ers would win, and I thought that the Eagles would win, and really this is the last four teams and the four true contenders in my eyes going into the playoffs. And the 49ers, the Eagles, the Cincinnati Bengals, and then the Kansas City Chiefs played out how I expected. And now we're going to see an interesting battle between really the two most complete teams in football. The Chiefs and the Bengals, all due respect to them, but the 49ers and the Eagles are the two most complete teams in football. Why? They've got top 10 offenses and top 10 defenses in yards allowed in several statistics. And when you look at the complexity of their roster, they've got strong skill position weapons in San Francisco. It's the obviously the Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, Kyle Juszczyk, and then you've got the secondary options in Juwan Jennings and Ray McLeod. But in Philly, you've got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, a speedy guy in Quez Watkins, and then you've also got Dallas Goedert. But in the running game, you've got a plethora of options in obviously Miles Sanders. You've got Boston Scott there as well, but they've got Jalen Hurts, a guy who has the ability to run, and really that's a huge part of his arsenal as well. So a complete offensive team. Defensively, their defensive lines are both pretty solid. Their linebacker cores are actually both solid as well. Drake Greenlaw and Fred Warner on one side, Kaiser White, TJ Edwards on the other side. Pretty solid units. And then obviously the secondary. The 49ers have Travarius Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, obviously their two safeties, and then Jimmy Ward as well. The Eagles have James Bradbury and Darius Slay, two top-level corners, as well as some nice safeties as well in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. So they've got a strong team on both sides is what I'm saying. But enough of that. We got to talk about this Dallas Cowboys 49ers game. And there was really two parts of this game, the first half and the second half. The first half was a very interesting first half, I've got to say. When you talk about the Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers in the first half, it was pretty much a defensive showdown to start. The 49ers couldn't get too much going in the first half. That was something that you did see, while Dallas Cowboys, while they could get stuff going in the first half, they also did struggle a little bit with the turnovers. Dak Prescott threw an interception. Obviously, you saw that. I mean, the Dallas Cowboys, they were really moving. Dak Prescott, though, he threw the interception first to Deommodore Lenoir. The second one was a bobbled interception, a tip drill pretty much to Jimmy Ward. And so you saw the two interceptions there. The 49ers, though, could not get the ball moving that much. When you talk about their first half, they had 3 field goals, the third of which came at the end of the half. But they were put in position to score but could not finish it off. Their first drive was a quick 3-and-out, but they also forced a Dallas Cowboys punt. And then on their second drive, they got all the way to the Dallas 38, and they had a couple of shots available. They first, Brandon Ayuk was open on a 2nd-and-9 at the Dallas 38, and Brock Purdy underthrew the pass, nearly interception. Nearly interception. He just missed it, and that was a near. Excuse me. That was a touchdown that was taken off the board because Purdy had missed Ayuk. And so 7 points off there. And then obviously that led to an incompletion on third down, short of the sticks to Christian McCaffrey, leading to a 4th-and-9 at the Dallas 38. Robbie Gould can't kick a 55-yard field goal. 4th-and-9, tough to convert. You had to punt. And a special teams gaffe allowed the Dallas Cowboys to get the ball at the 20-yard line, which essentially netted the 49ers just 18 yards. Huge interception though from Diamond Lenore on a really poor thrown ball from Dak Prescott, but also a poor route from Michael Gallup. I'm pretty sure Gallup shorted the route, did not run the entirety of the route, which would have been, it seemed like should have been a comeback or a curl. And so Prescott throws the interception, and then the 49ers have a short field. They start at the Dallas 21, and they can only really get a field goal out of it. So you didn't get the touchdown on the first drive when you had the opportunity. And then when you only have 21 yards to go, they could only get a field goal out of it. And they also got to the Dallas 8-yard line. It's not like they were stalled immediately. They got to a and goal situation, but really could not get enough out of it. A very interesting call. Brock Purdy having a quarterback draw on 2nd and 8. It seemed like that was a botched play. I'm not sure. I hadn't seen the post game clip about it if anyone had said anything, but that was a really interesting call. And the 49ers settle for a field goal. The Cowboys go 14 plays, 74 yards, and huge drive to get a touchdown with a bunch of dink and dunk stuff. And then the 49ers came back again and ended up at 3rd and 2, and an incompletion to Deebo Samuel left the 49ers with the 4th and 2. I thought the 49ers could have completed that pass, or Purdy could have completed that pass to Samuel on 3rd and 2. Instead, just an errant throw. And this was where we really saw a little bit of the nerves hitting Purdy, in that he was bailing out of the pocket a lot early. And bailing out of the pocket a lot early for Purdy is all right sometimes, but you also, while the off schedule stuff can happen, the Dallas Cowboys were fully prepared, because Purdy, what does he do? He only rolls to his left. So the Cowboys were prepared because they sent pressure, and after the first read, Purdy would bail too early, and then that led to the rushers really going after Purdy because of the athleticism that the Dallas Cowboys have. And so that led to a 3rd and 2 situation at the Dallas 29. And then Purdy really just missed a throw there. That led to another field goal. So you're talking about three opportunities where the 49ers were in range to score touchdowns or had the play drawn up to score a touchdown, and really came away with 3 field goals. So the offense was not working necessarily for the 49ers. But to their benefit, it wasn't working for the Dallas Cowboys either. And the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, they had a punt. I believe they had a punt, an interception, and then a touchdown, and then their second interception. But the 49ers just had 6 points on Dak's 2 interceptions today. Not great, and not something you want to do and want to have when you beat the Eagles. I want to talk about, to end the first half talk, the last drive, because the 49ers had the ball with about 1 minute and 15 seconds to go. But Kyle Shanahan had a very interesting way to call the game. With 1:15 left, Kyle Shanahan started the drive with 2 straight runs and took his time between them. 20 seconds went off before the first, between the first and second run, and then 26 seconds before San Francisco called a timeout. So they wasted 26 seconds of clock for no reason, and then converted the first down. And then after that, they tried to go for it and essentially only got a field goal. Now, Kyle Shanahan said after the game, the reason he did this is because he didn't want Dallas to get the ball with 45 seconds left and have 2 timeouts. But that is really, really poor clock management. To play scared in the playoffs is one thing, especially when you have a defense that has committed 2 interceptions in the first half and really only allowed 1 poor drive. It was not a great job by Kyle Shanahan in that situation, just a pure lack of trust in his offense and in Brock Purdy, who hadn't been playing well, but you got to have the trust in your offense in that situation. Really poor situation, clock management from Kyle Shanahan, and you can't play scared against one of the top 4 contenders or one of the top 3 contenders in the remaining teams left. That's something I do want to see fixed in the second half, or sorry, in the second game that the 49ers play against the Eagles, because this is not something that you want to see in general. So that was there. And because of this situation, the 49ers had 1 timeout and they had 30 seconds left, and they burnt that last timeout the play after. And so they had 24 seconds to go. And essentially, they had to get into field goal range for that. They did with a great pass from Brock Purdy to Juwan Jennings, ending up at the Dallas 32. And then Purdy had a very intriguing situation on the last play. He held the ball way too long and threw it out of bounds with just 1 second remaining on the clock. Not a great decision there from Purdy, who got an earful from Shanahan after. 49ers get the field goal, and most importantly, they got the stop going out of the half. So let's transition over to the second half, because that's where the 49ers really turned it up a little bit, but did face their struggles early on. What happened? Their defense did very good. They got a stop immediately. On the first drive that the Cowboys had, they got one first down, but after that could not get another first down, forced to punt. But Ray McLeod, a guy who had been surefire all year after a fumble in the preseason, fumbled a return, and that was his first fumble of the year, of the real year. And so that gave Dallas beautiful field goal position because they were there at the 21-yard line. 49ers, once again, their defense got to stop, and their defense held the Dallas Cowboys to when they got inside the 10-yard line to a field goal, and that tied the game up. 49ers could not get anything again on their next drive. But as funny as it sounds, with their backs against the wall on the 9-yard line, that's when you saw the 49ers finally turn it up. At the 9-yard line, that's when that drive came, and really the turning point of the game came on that drive where the 49ers tied 9-9, stuck at their 9-yard line midway through the third quarter. They needed that spark, and it finally came. On the second play of the drive, George Kittle and Brock Purdy, they really connected in that drive. And before I continue, do want to give a shout out to Mariah Faithfully, who joined the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in. But George Kittle, Brock Purdy, that connection was there again. That connection was there all game. Kittle had 95 yards on 5 catches in this game, the most of any 49ers receiver, trailing just CeeDee Lamb in this game. And that connection was there on this play. Kittle and Purdy both were people that you had to trust on this play because Purdy, he rolled to his left on a fake play action, looked for that. It's one of those play action plays where the 49ers have a double crosser, one on the intermediate side, one on the deep side. The Cowboys, though, covered it well. The linebackers covered well on the intermediate side, and then the deep one, the safeties covered well. So both players, Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel, running the deep and intermediate crossers, were double covered. That meant that Brock Purdy had nowhere to throw to, and as the pressure came, George Kittle on the backside of the play that where you're not really supposed to read the backside, he started bolting forward to the middle of the field. Why? Because when you have this play design, when you have the two crossers, the linebackers in the middle of the field are going to follow the crossers. The safeties in the middle of the field are going to carry the crossers, especially because the Cowboys were playing man coverage. And so on that right side with the crossers, when it's a 3 stack on the right side with the 3 receivers that were there with Kittle, with Samuel, and with Ayuk, one of the safeties is lined up on the deep guy, which was on this play Ayuk. And then the second safety carries when Ayuk goes to the left. Both safeties were covered on that play. Then the linebackers were also covered because that intermediate route, they carry as the intermediate route goes to the left. And so Kittle had one-on-one coverage, just essentially started running downfield, beat his guy, and he was wide open. He essentially got a 30-yard gain just on that play. Great job from Purdy to have the awareness to see the right side of the field. And that really led to the 49ers being able to get this play and get a first down, a much-needed first down. After the game, Purdy and Shanahan both said that this was the play of the game. Purdy said how they needed a spark and that he saw Kittle on the backside as Kittle made the smart play to go find open grass, and Purdy hit him. Shanahan praised Purdy and his willingness to let it rip, as well as his ability to read the backside when that play wasn't really there for any other read. And it was a great play from Purdy, really probably his best play of the game that led to a 10-play, 91-yard touchdown drive that lasted 6 minutes long, ended with a Christian McCaffrey touchdown, and that's how the 49ers got on the board for the first time in this game. Really a huge, huge play for the 49ers. And really from there, they never let go. It was 16-9 there. Dallas did get a field goal on the ensuing drive, but the 49ers did end up stopping them, obviously, from getting the touchdown. And then the 49ers won on a huge 13-play, 64-yard set, 8-minute drive that killed the clock, left Dallas with 3 minutes left to score a touchdown, and the rest was history. Something I do want to note that has been a kind of a norm with the 49ers in their playoff games thus far. They have gone pass heavy in the first half and run heavy in the second half. Against the Seattle Seahawks, the 49ers passed the ball 19 times in the first half, ran it only 10 times in the first half. And it was met with middling results. Brock Purdy really didn't execute as well in the first half, and that led to a lot of missed opportunities, and the 49ers went down 1 point at the half. This game, the 49ers passed 19 times and ran 11 times in the first half, almost identical to the Seahawks game. And it was met with middling results once again. It showed a willingness of Kyle Shanahan to trust his quarterback, who has had up and down first halves with the ball in the first half. But in the second half, the 49ers went ultra physical and ran the football both times. They ran the ball 23 times in the Seattle Seahawks game and passed the ball just 11 times in the Seahawks game in the second half. And that's where they spurred. Remember, they went on a 25-0 run in the second half, 23 runs to 11 passes. In this game, the 49ers had a very similar approach as Purdy just threw, I believe, Purdy threw 9 passes. No, Purdy threw 10 passes in the second half, and the 49ers ran the football 22 times. So 22-10 to 23, and I believe, what did I say, 23-11? Very similar splits and very similar results. The 49ers ended up having a better second half than the first half in this game and the last game. Obviously, a lower scoring game, only 10 points in this half, but the 49ers were able to get it done. And now we've got to look forward because the 49ers they finally, they're back in the NFC Championship game, third time in 4 years. And I've got to talk about this matchup because this matchup really intrigued me this game. 49ers offense versus the Cowboys defense. How did they fare? The Cowboys were the first team to really stop the 49ers this year. The 49ers, or at least in the Brock Purdy era. The 49ers have been scoring 34.8 points per game since Brock Purdy became the quarterback. That is elite. They have, I believe, been the number one scoring offense since then. And they have done a phenomenal job offensively. That's a reason why many people, myself included, have consistently praised their offense because their offense has been really one of the primary reasons that they've won. They haven't scored less than 20 points since the New Orleans game this year. And apart from that, they hadn't scored less than 20 points since I think since week 7 against Kansas City. So they have scored over 20 points in a lot of these games. In fact, they've scored 30 points in one, I believe, apart from the Seattle game. So Miami, Tampa Bay, Washington, Vegas, Arizona, and Seattle. In 6 of their last 7 games, they have scored over 30 points. So for the Dallas Cowboys to hold the 49ers to just 19 points, as well as just, I believe the Dallas Cowboys held the 49ers to only 312 yards in this game. That's phenomenal by the Dallas Cowboys. The 49ers haven't been held to that many, or I think they had a similar amount in the Arizona game, but only 312 yards. But apart from that, they hadn't been held to that low uh really, I think all year. That's crazy now that you talk about it. And so the 49ers, their offense was really limited in this game. You've got to admit it. And it starts at the quarterback position. And I'm not saying anything necessarily negative about Brock Purdy. I'm not trying to make it sound like I'm harping on him, especially after a win. But Purdy needs to improve his play if the 49ers are going to make the Super Bowl run. He has shown that he can be capable of being the quarterback for the 49ers when they win the Super Bowl with the way that they've been scoring before. But in this game, Purdy did miss a couple of reads, and he also bailed the pocket a lot. Now, he was also subject to poor offensive line play for a portion of this game, which, again, forced that pocket to collapse before the routes could develop. But Purdy also has to give his receivers a chance, stay in the pocket a little more instead of rolling to the left, because that has become a predictable move of his, and defenses are starting to adapt and adjust to it. Kyle Shanahan also has to figure out why, or not why, but what he can do to improve this offense for the Eagles game. He put a couple of plays out there that he put a couple of plays out there this game that were available for Purdy, but he's got to do more of that. The screen game did not work. The Dallas Cowboys were prepared every time for the screen. And so the 49ers do have to do a better job if they want to involve the screen game in figuring out ways to utilize that differently in this game. And so I think that the 49ers I think the 49ers should have a tougher matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles because of how good the Eagles defense is. But I do think that this one's going to be a very, very level headed game in that the 49ers and the Eagles are both teams that really do well against almost every aspect in general. When you talk about the defenses, the 49ers and the Eagles, they're number 1 and number 2 in yards allowed, and it was literally by 1 yard per game. That's how good both defenses were. And then when you talk about the offenses, both teams are amongst the best in scoring, amongst the best in yards, and so they both have the ability. But the reason that the Eagles are a huge complete team, they can run the ball very well. That's not something that a lot of 49er opponents can say. Not many teams have run the ball very well against the 49ers, but the Eagles, they have a propensity to do so, and they have done it to a huge extent, really, in this entire playoffs. In fact, they ran for 268 yards on the New York Giants. 268, which is why Jalen Hurts hasn't necessarily had to beat teams thus far because they have such a dominant rushing performance. Kenneth Gainwell is a very good number 2 backup in the running game, and they've got a strong offensive line, arguably maybe even the best offensive line in football, with strong tackles in Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson, good inside play with Landon Dickerson and Jason Kelsey, and really good all around. So that's something that I'm very curious to see. But thank you guys. I just wanted to give an instant reaction, see what you guys were thinking. So I appreciate all the support for those of you guys that watched. 49ers Cowboys 19-12, a fun matchup. We're going to have a fun week of 49ers content out for you. Film review likely out on Tuesday. Tomorrow is a little bit of a busier day. So Tuesday, while I watch the film tomorrow, I'll get it out Tuesday as I do normally. Grades will be out. So check out 49ers Web Zone for content, the written content that comes out daily, really almost every day that I put it out. And check out the channel. Be sure to subscribe, like and subscribe. And if you want the audio versions, we're out on Apple Podcasts, we're out on Spotify. So check the links in the description so that you could download our podcasts and you can listen in general to not only mine, but also Marco's podcasts. I appreciate all of you guys because you guys really make the show possible. Kaimi, thank you for tuning in. And we will be back very soon with some more content. 49ers Cowboys, that one's over. We're on to the NFC Championship game. 49ers Eagles in Philadelphia. Going to be a wild game next weekend. I believe it's going to be on Sunday before we get the 2-week break before the Super Bowl. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.